The second floor roof is next, but instead of taking you through every little thing that we've already gone through, I'm going to skip pretty much right to the turret, which is more interesting. In this case, I'm going to make the assumption that the turret is an architectural feature and we want to see the underlying roof framing, or at least the shape of it. And so we will have the balance of the second floor roof bare on top of the turret roof. I've developed the skeleton for the second floor roof, and now I want to work on the turret portion of it, and then I'll figure out how to intersect the two together. But before I do that, I need to develop the decking for the second floor roof. So I'll unhide second floor roof planes. Make a copy of it and hide it for safekeeping. And rename the unhidden copy second floor roof deck. And then we'll use the joint push-pull tools. In this case, the follow push-pull tool to extrude it up so that we have a 3/4 inch decking. That would be 7/8 inches in the plumb direction, roughly. I need to create a roof plan for the turret. So we'll edit it, create a face on the bottom of it, set a center guide line, and make a copy of that face, drag it down where we can work on it, group it, and name it turret plan. Now, I'm going to be spreading rafters in a radial fashion about the center, and I want them to be roughly 24 inches on center at the edge. And so I'm going to use the polygon tool, and then through trial and error adjust the size of the polygon, or rather the number of facets on the polygon, so that I end up with something close to 24 inches on center. I'll create a rectangle representing a 4x rafter. And then distribute it. Copy and rotate. Then we're going to need a center hub for these rafters to bear upon. I'll use the polygon tools with 5 facets. We need a couple of rows of mid-span blocking to carry the intermediate rafters. So I created these 2 polygons. Then I'll use the offset tool and offset of 3.5 inches to create the rows of blocking. And then we'll rotate these 4x rafters and copy them around for these mid-span, or rather these intermediate rafters. And we'll shrink this rafter here into a 2x for the endmost intermediate rafter. And then edit the intersections. And we'll edit the blocks themselves. And then get rid of all the extra rafters we don't need. We'll group all of these and then duplicate them and copy them radially around the turret roof plan. So I'm going to create a rectangle here that represents a rafter, drag it out 11.5 inches so I can get the plumb dimensions. So using joint push-pull I can develop the roof plane solid and make a couple of copies top and bottom. Then edit them to stretch them out. And we'll be using these for the Solid Tools trim tool. And using joint push-pull. There we go. We have the upper and lower roof plane solids. And we'll just adjust them accordingly and then extrude our skeleton elements, starting with the hub. The main rafter, and then the intermediate, well, the blocks and the intermediate rafters. And then trim them against the upper and lower roof plane solids. And we'll cut the seat cuts. We'll select our rafter group and then using the rotate tool copy it around the hub. We'll select all of the copied rafter groups and then explode them. And then we have some gaps there. So we will select the intermediate rafters and their blocks and then rotate copy them to where they need to be. And now we'll create the roof decking. Now, because the second floor roof is going to bear on the turret roof, we'll have to create a ledger that the second floor roof rafters can bear upon. And so we'll take the roof surface here, we'll make a copy of it, drag it over, and then this will actually become our ledger. We'll thicken this up to 1.5 inches thick. Drop it back to where it was, sitting on top of the 3/4 inch decking. Though I don't show it here, we'll use the top surface of the second floor roof deck to cut our ledger for the turret roof. And then we'll use the Solid Tools trim tools in the second floor roof plane's lower portion to cut the bottom of the ledger, and there it is. Now we need to trim the rafters against the ledger. We'll do this with either the trim tool or the circle tool. And then we'll fill in some of these rafter tails. And we're going to need a ledger up against the curved portion of the turret walls. So I'll make a copy of the turret wall here that I will change the thickness up to 1.5 inches to represent the ledger that will sit on the outside of the turret wall. Lower it into place, stretch it out. and then trim it. So that we're left with our very small little pieces of ledger there. Which will trim against the upper roof plane solid. And now we'll trim the rafters up against the ledger. Now, we don't need rafter tails on the inside of the second floor roof, and so all of this is an effort to trim the rafters, which gets pretty involved because it's round and fairly fussy, so I'm not going to describe too much of the process here. Lots of curved surfaces and intersections on curved surfaces. Now here I'm trying to edit the roof decking, the turret roof decking. so that it intersects reasonably with the second floor roof decking. And here we have reasonably trimmed turret roof decking that intersects the second floor roof decking pretty well. And now we'll do the frieze and fascia. And then we'll trim the fascia, the ledgers, and the rafter tails. Yeah, the rafters that I'm not trimming using the trim tool are not solids, so I'm going to use the circle tool, trim them quickly. and unhide the roof decking and trim the frieze and fascia to that. Here I decided it'd be best to use plumb frieze blocking instead of the square frieze blocking. Now we'll trim the fascia against the turret walls. And the turret fascia against the second floor roof. This is what the finished framing looks like. And the whole roof. I'm going to throw a section here to see what the intersection of the second floor roof to the first floor roof looks like. And you can see that we have a little editing to do there. I believe we will have the second floor roof bare on top of the first floor roof decking. And we'll throw another section in there and look at it again, see what it looks like now. And that is much more suitable. And I believe this looks like our finished framing. This tutorial ended up being a little longer than anticipated, by a mile. I want to thank those of you who stuck it out to the end. I appreciate it, and I hope that it has been helpful to you. This is Drew Murphy signing out for now.